Welcome everyone to a new Mew Mew blog thingy. Today we'll be continuing with part 2 of fan theories and headcanons. If you missed part 1 of this, you can check it out here. I won't be able to cover all of the theories that's been scattered around the net, but I'll most likely make another one of these if I ever get enough material to create a third video. Anyway, time for a few more fan theories. First up, we'll cover some of the St. Rose Crusaders, since those have been popping up recently. We'll start with Royal Highness, which basically boils down to the theory that he's an actual vampire due to his gothic motif and his obsession with blood. While it's fun to think about, I personally don't think he is. It was made clear that the 4 guys were humans born with supernatural abilities, and depending on your vampire lore, it doesn't add up in this universe. There is no common knowledge that vampires exist in the story, and it's obvious that his parents were not vampires, or else he wouldn't have been sent to a boarding school due to fear of his abilities. Plus, his obsession was only for a couple of chapters and was never mentioned again. I personally think it's just a hobby of his. However, it's still a fun theory that I wouldn't object to anyone believing, so I stamped this one semi-approved. Next up is Sweet Juliet. Due to his powers being really big, some have theorized that his power is the ability to literally change his appearance by some sort of shape-shifting. The only thing that gets in the way of this is that the Japanese Wikipedia says that his ability is to change into any person using costumes. However, this is a theory that I would totally get behind since it would be an actual superpower. If it was something as simple as being a good makeup artist, I don't see the reason why anyone would be scared of him. Plus, the way he's able to totally change his face makes this one pretty convincing, so I totally approve of this. Then there's Duke's unknown gender. The Japanese Wikipedia says that Duke's a man, but the Kodansha English translation says that Duke's a girl. So a theory's going around that Duke is either genderless or gender fluid. I get confused about gender stuff as it is, but trying to figure out Duke is even more confusing. So until there's concrete proof concerning this, also the fact that there was no background story for Duke at all, so anything's possible, this has my full approval. Now on to our heroes, starting with Minko and Sakura. Whether you view their relationship as sisterly, romantic, or just friends, one thing's for sure, they have a connection. The question though is how the relationship will turn out. It's been theorized that due to the incident she mentioned involving rumors that took the life of mystery guy here, she probably doesn't want to be in a close relationship with anyone else in fear that it might happen again. We saw how the Mew Mews believing rumors struck a chord in Sakura, and not in a good way. She's still famous, and while she is thick-skinned enough to handle rumors common to her profession concerning herself, it's pretty obvious that she'd never want anyone else to go through that. So, in the end, she'd probably just be a casual friend to Minko. Some might ask what I think of Minko. I personally see her as a huge fangirl, mostly due to how I react to seeing people I look up to regardless of gender. I also don't see her and Sakura as I see others like Tsukasa and Subaru, Haruka and Michiru, or Korra and Asami. I mean, think about it. What would you do if someone famous you really liked got to work with you personally on a project? For me, I'd be a slobbering, stuttering mess right after I recover from the initial blackout. Karina, on the other hand, is totally in love with Renee, no doubt about it. I mean, we have lines like this.
This is one of those fan obsession books. So, what of it? What's the big deal?
I thought only boys bought these.
Is it yours?
Or this.
Oh. What are you doing? Why are you cutting up my beautiful Renee? Those books aren't cheap, you know.
Looky, looky!
My poor Renee.
Or edited scenes like this.
But totally cute can mean a lot of different things depending on who's talking.
There is no way she isn't. So in my personal opinion, Minko and Sakura? No. Karina and Renee? Oh, yes. Next up, we have Rio. Poor Rio. What could be wrong with Rio, you may ask? To put it bluntly, according to this fan theory that is actually backed up by scientific evidence, although it goes way over my head because it's too smart for me, Rio is a dead man walking. Not in the traditional sense, mind you. His incompatible cat genes are slowly killing him, and it's estimated that he has until he's 20. Also, the fact that he told Tasuku that he was prepared to face the consequences and/or die ever since he started the Mew project could have hinted at that. Yike! Don't know if this would be true in universe, but it makes for great fan fiction, and I even ran into a couple of them. Speaking of Tasku, there's one about him as well. This one was sent to me recently on Tumblr, which says, since it's mentioned in Volume 2, especially in Tokyo Pop's wording, that he lives with a single mother, it can be assumed that his parents are either separated/divorced, or his father died. Since he knows what it's like to lose a family member, this leads to why he's so eager to reach out to Barry in her time of need after her mother's funeral, and comfort her, because he sympathizes with her and doesn't want her to be alone. Tasku, you're so sweet! That's so beautiful! Okay, where were we? Oh yeah. Lastly, we have another recent headcanon that started off as a Tumblr confession, which I ended up escalating. It basically boils down to Sakura, being the eldest of the 5, feeling responsible for the safety of the other girls, especially towards bullying due to her age. Then it went on even further, saying that bullying talks to Sakura about personal girl matters, and Sakura, knowing the need to keep these things private, has these conversations with her in Mandarin, which would make sense due to it being bullying's native language and one that Sakura knows how to speak. But yeah, I personally believe that these two are closer than the show implied. I'm more fond of close friendships than romantic stuff, I guess. Anyways, that's the end of this Mew Mew blog thingy. If you have any Mew Mew things you want me to talk about, post it in the comments below. Next time, we talk about 2 characters and the rivalry that surrounds them.